Amid the hustle and bustle of a busy market, a young German shepherd, clearly neglected, catches the attention of a 5-year-old girl. The dog appears sad and unloved, and the girl pleads with her mother to help her save him. What happens next is truly remarkable. On a bright Saturday morning, 5-year-old Emily wandered through the bustling market alongside her parents when her eyes fell on a big German shepherd tied to a post near a corner stall. Her mother, Victoria, noticed Emily's gaze and followed it to the dog. With a sigh, she recognized her daughter's natural sensitivity toward animals in need. "Okay, sweetie, we can go take a look, but stay close to me," she said. As they drew nearer, Emily crouched a few feet from the dog. "Hi there, boy," she whispered gently, reaching out her hand. The dog sniffed cautiously at the air, its ears twitching slightly in response. Emily edged a little closer. "You seem so sad. It's okay. I'm here now." Victoria observed her daughter attentively. Emily always had an uncanny connection with animals, but this dog appeared particularly vulnerable. "Emily, be careful," Victoria warned. "He might be feeling scared." The little girl nodded, but her focus remained on the dog. She noticed a vendor nearby who seemed to be the owner. The man was busy attending to customers and paid little attention to the dog. Emily stood up and approached him. "Excuse me, sir, is this your dog?" The vendor glanced at her briefly, then nodded and said the dog was no good. Nobody wanted him. He was just taking up space. Emily's heart sank. "May I pet him?" she asked. The man gave a nonchalant shrug. Emily turned back to the dog, carefully extending her hand to stroke his fur. To her amazement, the dog didn't shy away. Instead, he leaned into her touch, his tail giving a faint wag. Emily smiled. She knew a connection was forming. Over the next few weeks, Emily and her parents visited the market regularly. Each time, she spent time with the dog. She named him Thor, and with each visit, their bond grew stronger. Thor seemed to recognize Emily, his eyes lighting up whenever he saw her. Her parents noticed the growing attachment and began to discuss the possibility of bringing the dog home. They knew it wouldn't be easy. Thor needed medical attention and a lot of care, but they couldn't ignore Emily's unwavering determination to help him. Finally, after much discussion, they approached the vendor with an offer to take Thor home. The man seemed eager to be rid of what he called the useless dog, and agreed readily. Emily's heart soared. She gently unchained Thor and led him to their car. "You're coming home with us," she whispered softly. On the ride back, Emily sat close to the dog, her hand gently stroking his fur. He rested his head on her lap, a quiet gesture of trust and comfort. Emily had rescued a neglected dog from the market, but little did she know that Thor, as he would soon be named, was about to reveal just how remarkable their bond would become. Bringing the dog home was just the beginning of a brand new journey for Emily and her family. While the initial joy of rescuing the dog filled their hearts, they soon realized the challenges that lay ahead. Thor, with his matted fur and visible ribs, had endured a tough life, and it showed in his behavior. At first, he was skittish and wary of his new surroundings. He flinched at sudden movements and loud noises, and cowered when adults tried to pet him. Emily spent every possible moment with him. She would sit by his side and read books or simply talk to him about her day. Her tiny size seemed to put him at ease. Slowly, the dog began to show signs of trust. He leaned into her hand when she petted him and started following her around the house. But his behavior was still unpredictable, so the family decided to seek professional help. They reached out to a local animal behaviorist, Dr. Louise Taylor, who specialized in working with traumatized dogs. Dr. Taylor came to their home and carefully observed Thor's actions and demeanor. "This dog has endured significant hardship," she said thoughtfully. "His erratic behavior stems from the trauma he's experienced in the past. What he needs now is a stable environment, patience, and consistent training to rebuild his sense of security." She provided them with a training plan that emphasized positive reinforcement and gradual exposure to new experiences. The training was slow and required a lot of patience. There were days when Thor showed progress and responded well to commands. He even sometimes played fetch with Emily. But there were also setbacks. Thor would sometimes growl or snap if he felt cornered or threatened, though he was never aggressive toward the little girl. One day, while playing in the yard, he approached Emily with a ball in his mouth, his tail wagging like a propeller. It was the first time he had initiated play, and Emily's heart soared with joy. She threw the ball, and Thor chased after it, barking happily. Victoria and John watched from the porch. The journey to rehabilitate their dog was far from over, but the family's unwavering commitment was starting to pay off. As weeks turned into months, Thor's behavior steadily improved. Emily's boundless patience and unconditional love started to mend the emotional scars from his past. One bright afternoon, she was playing in the yard, her laughter ringing through the air. Thor joyfully chased after a ball, his tail wagging with newfound happiness. From the porch, Victoria and John sat sipping iced tea, a sense of calm washing over them as they watched. In that moment, they couldn't help but marvel at how far their beloved dog had come. Suddenly, a loud noise shattered the peaceful afternoon. The neighbor's cat had been startled by a car backfiring. It darted across the yard and sent Thor into a frenzy. He took off after the cat, barking wildly. Emily tried to stop Thor. She ran after him, her small legs struggling to keep up. In the chaos, she didn't notice the approaching car speeding down the street. Victoria and John's hearts leapt into their throats as they saw Emily chasing Thor. They shouted, but their voices were drowned out by the car's roar and the dog's barking. "Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much." In that split second, Thor's protective instincts took over. He perceived the danger long before Emily was aware of it. As the car sped dangerously close, he spun around and dashed back toward her with incredible speed. With a mighty leap, he pushed her out of the vehicle's path just in time. The car screeched to a halt, the driver's face pale with shock. Victoria and John rushed to Emily's side. She was dazed but unharmed, clinging to Thor, who stood protectively over her. He nuzzled her gently, licking her face as if to reassure her that she was safe. From that day on, Thor's place in the family was solidified. His courageous act changed the way Victoria and John saw him. He was no longer just a rescue dog with a troubled past. He was a loyal protector and a beloved member of their family, willing to go to great lengths to keep them safe. One day, during a walk, Thor suddenly froze and began to growl. Emily looked up and saw a man approaching. It was the same vendor from the market who had kept Thor chained and neglected. The man's eyes narrowed as he recognized the dog. "So, that's where you ended up?" he sneered, his tone cold and sharp. Emily tightened her grip on Thor's leash, feeling the tension radiating from him. She knew she had to stay composed. "Thor is my dog now," she said with quiet determination, "and you can't take him back." The man let out a scoff, his voice dripping with arrogance. "He was my dog first," he retorted. "You had no right to take him." Emily didn't waver, her voice steady as she met his gaze. "You didn't take care of him," she replied firmly. "He deserved better." The man took a step closer. Thor growled more fiercely, positioning himself protectively in front of Emily. The man threatened to involve the authorities, even accusing her of stealing his dog. Emily's mind raced. She knew the man had no claim, but the confrontation was unnerving. "Go ahead," she replied. "We have proof of how you treated him. You won't get him back." The man glared at her, then turned and walked away, muttering under his breath. Emily let out a shaky breath and knelt beside Thor. She hugged him tightly and said, "It's okay. He won't hurt you ever again." The incident shook Emily, but it also strengthened her resolve. She knew she had to be vigilant and protect Thor from anyone who might try to take him away. She discussed the encounter with her parents. They reassured her that they would support her and keep Thor safe. On a bright and sunny Saturday, the local community hosted a pet fair and dog show. Emily's family chose to take part in the event. It was an opportunity to showcase Thor's progress and enjoy a day out together. The fair was bustling with activity when they arrived. Booths lined the park, offering pet supplies, treats, and information about animal care. The air was filled with excited barks and laughter as dogs of all shapes and sizes mingled with their owners. Emily was overjoyed to attend the event and was excited to see how Thor would adapt to the unfamiliar setting. As they wandered through the bustling fair, they came across a booth showcasing a tracking and agility demonstration. Emily's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as she took in the display. "Can we try this, Mommy?" she asked, looking up at her mother with hopeful eyes. Victoria smiled and nodded. They approached the booth, and a friendly instructor greeted them. He asked if they wanted to see if their dog had any hidden talents. Emily nodded enthusiastically. The instructor guided them to the agility course. It was set up with tunnels, jumps, and weaving poles. "Let's begin with a few simple agility drills and observe how Thor performs," he proposed. Emily led her dog to the starting line. Her heart pounded with excitement. She had never tried agility with Thor before, but she had a feeling that he might surprise everyone. She whispered in his ear and asked if he was ready. Thor's ears perked up, and he wagged his tail eagerly. As soon as Emily signaled, Thor bolted forward with determination. He moved through the course with remarkable agility and grace. Thor soared effortlessly over the jumps, threaded smoothly through the poles, and dashed through the tunnels with speed and accuracy that left everyone stunned. The crowd watched in awe as he completed the course faster than anyone had expected. Emily beamed with pride. She had always known her dog was special, but seeing him excel in the agility course was beyond her wildest dreams. The news of Thor's hidden talent spread quickly through the fair. People who had once viewed him as just a rescued dog now saw him as a star. Emily's family received numerous offers from trainers and agility clubs. Everyone was eager to help Thor reach his full potential. The discovery of his talent opened up new possibilities for Emily and her beloved dog. They began training with a local agility club. Thor's progress was astounding, and he quickly became a favorite among the trainers. But the excitement surrounding Thor's newfound agility talent was soon overshadowed by a troubling development. The previous owner, emboldened by seeing Thor's success, began to escalate his threats. He started showing up at the park during their training sessions. He would shout that Thor belonged to him, and that he would take him back by any means necessary. Emily's parents grew increasingly concerned for their daughter's safety and Thor's well-being. They decided it was time to take legal action to secure the dog's place in their family permanently. They contacted a lawyer who specialized in animal rights cases. During their initial consultation, the lawyer, Miss Patterson, listened carefully to their story. "You have a solid case," she said with confidence. The key will be to collect as much evidence as you can of Thor's past mistreatment and demonstrate how well he is doing in your care. Victoria and John began collecting everything they could to support their case. They had taken detailed photographs of Thor's condition when they first rescued him, including his matted fur, protruding ribs, and sad eyes. They also gathered vet records showing his health improvements and testimonials from neighbors, friends, and trainers who had witnessed Thor's transformation. Emily was determined to help as well. She wrote a heartfelt letter describing her bond with Thor and the positive changes she had seen in him. "Thor is my best friend," she wrote with heartfelt sincerity. "He saved my life, and I love him deeply. Please don't let anyone take him away from me." The legal process was daunting, and the court case was looming. To add to their stress, the local agility competition was fast approaching. It was an important event where Thor could showcase his talent and further demonstrate how well he had adjusted to his new life. Despite the tension, Emily and Thor continued their training. Emily's heart pounded every time she saw the previous owner lurking nearby, but she drew strength from her love for Thor and her determination to keep him safe. On the day of the competition, the air was electric. Dozens of dogs and their owners gathered, ready to compete in various events. As they waited for their turn, Emily noticed the previous owner standing on the sidelines, glaring at them. She took a deep breath and focused on Thor. "We can do this," she whispered gently, "just like we practiced." When the announcer called their names, Emily and Thor walked onto the course with determination. The crowd grew silent, anticipation filling the air. Emily gave the signal, and Thor sprang into motion. Thor soared over the jumps, weaved through the poles, and raced through the tunnels with a grace that took everyone's breath away. As they crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted in applause. Emily beamed with pride, and Thor wagged his tail excitedly. The competition's judges were impressed. One of them, a renowned dog trainer, approached Emily. "You and Thor are an outstanding pair," he commented. "He's an exceptional dog, and you've done an impressive job training him." The day of the hearing finally arrived. Emily gripped Thor's leash tightly. The previous owner was there, scowling and muttering under his breath. Miss Patterson presented their case with confidence. She highlighted Thor's progress and the loving care he had received from Emily's family. The judge listened attentively. He reviewed the photographs, vet records, and testimonials. Emily's letter was read aloud, bringing tears to the eyes of many in the courtroom. Finally, the judge turned to the previous owner. "The evidence clearly shows that Thor was neglected and abused under your care. He has thrived with his new family, and it is in his best interest to remain with them." The previous owner protested, but the judge was firm. "Your behavior has demonstrated that you are unfit to care for this dog," the judge declared. "The court rules in favor of Emily's family. Thor will remain with them permanently." The court ruling was a significant victory for Emily and her family, but the story didn't end there. Following the hearing, the judge ordered an investigation into Thor's previous owner. What emerged from this investigation shocked everyone and solidified the community's support for Emily and Thor. It was revealed that the man had a history of animal maltreatment. Several other animals had suffered under his care. Witnesses came forward with testimonies about his cruel behavior, and the local news picked up the story. The story spread like wildfire, triggering a surge of public outrage. The details of Thor's past mistreatment rallied the community into action. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers united around Emily's family, pledging to make sure Thor's former owner would never be able to mistreat another animal. Did you enjoy this story? Have you ever rescued an animal from abandonment or a sad life? Is it possible for you to totally rescue an animal that has been abused? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the story, please subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Emily and Thor's story teaches us how it is possible to live happily with our animals, despite having a history of mistreatment. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.